They did it! They finally nerfed Clairen and buffed Etalus! All of Clairen's tippers were reduced to make it harder, making it less frustrating to fight. And Etalus is fuzzy! Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, he got like buffs or whatever. But yeah, he's fuzzy! Also, another Loxodont Nerf? What are we doing here? And in the Reddit portion, we actually have an interesting conversation on whether top players should get into content creation. So if you want some of that conversation, go to this timestamp right over here. And once again, welcome back to Recap of Aether. I'm your host of both players, and let's get into it. Firstly, we got patch 1.1.4, which comes with some balance changes and the Aether Legends event. They teased it last week, but on Tuesday they made it live. And just as a reminder, the monthly event will include these right here. We got Ranger Fleet, Demigod Orcane, or Dark Future Loxodont, and Shadow Clan Forsburn. This bundle will cost you 20 bucks, and this unlockable track is free, as long as you play. As a Loxodont main, they keep giving us fire skins, and I keep losing money. I haven't bought this one yet, but I really want to. And if you want me to buy this, subscribe! If I get to 1,000 subs, I can finally monetize this channel, and I promise you, this channel is going directly into my skin fund. I'm only buying skins with this channel. So if you want to make sure I don't look poor on Rivals of Aether, go subscribe, please! Firstly, they got some training mode updates. They're calling this Phase 1. Training mode is getting some new features. While this is only the first phase of improvement, we have been taking feedback from the community via our note board. And because of the note board suggestions, they added a few new options, such as set player percent, grab options, so you can set what the CPU does when they grab you, ledge options, counter options in the air, so that the CPU can do either an air dodge or an attack in the first actionable frame, a counter delay, where you can delay the counter action by a number of frames, floor hug, throw options, and pummel options. So a lot more things for the CPU to do in training mode, so you can train for specific scenarios. Now this, low-key, might be the best update yet. Look at my boy Etalus. They gave him the fur. This was my biggest complaint when Etalus came out, was that he was so skinny. He was so skin tight, but now he's fuzzy like he should be. Oh my god, this looks so much better. I'm not joking you when I say before Etalus looks weird, but now he looks like a proper polar bear. This is sick. They have some audio updates. So new sound for perfect shielding and attack. The victory sequence audio has been improved for all characters, which not really sure what that means, but that's great that it's been improved. Now this is super exciting. A new ranked season is on the way. We're excited to announce the conclusion of Ranked Light is coming soon, with the reset and a brand new system and season on the way. Fear not, the end is not here, only near. We have added a neat little in-game timer to count down to the reset on April 2nd, so you know how long you have left to climb. Okay, so if you had a little bit of salt about how the rank system worked in Rivals of Aether 2, the new season is on the way, which I think will be the debut of the official ranked system. Now we will see if they implement character ranks, or if they stick with singular rank, or if they do a hybrid in between. The feedback in the community has been pretty loud that it should be character separate ranks, but I'm kind of excited to see what the devs have planned. I hope it's something even more creative. Some online timer updates. Essentially across the board, the wait time has been lowered, so you can't be sitting idle for as long as you used to, which generally is great because sometimes some people just be not picking stages. They just stay at the stage select for some reason, and I'm like, why are we wasting time here? Now here's the meat and potatoes, the balance updates. So here's what the devs have to say. This patch focuses on power distribution across the cast, focusing on what strengths and weaknesses among the cast were a bit too prevalent. While we won't be able to cover everything we want at once, we have taken a step towards a general game feel improvements, and adjustments in particular to Raster, Clairen, Maple, and Orcane. Our newest rival Etalus has a plethora of changes that addresses his movement and shield pressure, among other aspects of his gameplay. Let's dive in. So I'm just going to go over things that I think stand out in particular. For one, air dodge angles will now round to cardinal directions within 20 degrees. This was previously 10 degrees and would sometimes result in a slightly upward air dodge when trying to waveland, wave dash horizontally. So this is like a small quality of life change. They basically lowered the floor of a correct waveland, wave dash. Which to me, I'm not complaining. I very frequently, I'm missing my wave dashes. So that's great for me. So now getting into the characters, Zetterburn is getting some small changes that reduce active frames of his powerful down air and allowing him to keep some momentum when using ground and neutral special. So down air active frames have been reduced by 1 frame. This makes it require slightly more precise timing to land. The recover frames were increased by 1 to leave a total move of the duration unchanged. So it's slightly less active and slightly more recovery, which sure, any nerf is necessary. But this is a very interesting change. Grounded neutral special will no longer stop horizontal momentum. This allows him to keep a little bit of his velocity when doing a running neutral special instead of stopping immediately in place. This seems like unnecessary. I think maybe in practice it probably will feel good, but I feel like this will make follow-ups with Shine like easier. Like you could just slide and slip and slide and follow up with like anything. Maybe I'm overestimating how much this momentum is really gonna affect Zetterburn, but this is, I don't know. I just feel like this wasn't anything that Zetterburns were complaining about. Like Zetterburns was wave shining all over the place anyway. So why did he need this? I don't know. Now going on to Raster. Raster's getting some buffs. For one, Raster's new slipstream was getting removed a little too easily, so we're making it take some extra effort to get rid of. We're also changing the way his dash attack and forward air function, as they were a bit over-centralizing for how versatile they were. So they buffed Slipstream in that it will no longer go on cooldown when Raster goes into light or medium hit stun. Raster has to be hit by a stronger hit or get grabbed to get rid of Slipstream. This is overall just a great buff for Raster. Slipstream will be active for much longer, and it forces you to have to commit to a strong move or try to get the grab. Which I mean Raster was pretty low in representation, but like a player like Marlin who plays a lot of Raster, I feel like this is going to be very good for him. They did decrease Raster's weight even more so that it emphasizes his greatest weakness in order to better offset his strengths. So they're maintaining his like super high combo with Slipstream, but much more of a glass cannon. Overall here, dash attack is getting a nerf in both knockback as well as recovery. This reduces the reward Raster gets for hitting the late dash attack, since it would too often combo into his most powerful finisher, Up Special. They changed the hitbox knockback angle for neutral air 1. This allows Raster to use the inner and outer hits in different scenarios with varying levels of reward based on his momentum. And generally speaking, the inner hit will link better with no momentum, while the outer hit will link better with forward momentum. So trying to give Raster a bit more versatility with his moves. This is straight up a power nerf to forward air, and Get Up Special's multi-hits have a new angle, which will make it harder for opponents to fall out. Crag is just getting bug fixes, no buffs or nerfs for him. Pillar's hurt boxes are now slightly wider. This allows projectiles to break it from the sides. Oh, so I guess the hurt boxes were like slightly under, like if you can see that, it's slightly under the rocks. Like some of the rocks stick out. And this will help it look more consistent when using a projectile. Very nice. I like that they call this a bug fix. I feel like this is just like a nerf. Fleet is getting a small change to prevent her forward tilt from whiffing at close range. Forward tilt's innermost hitbox moved more inward. So as you can see, the inward hitbox at first was over here, and now it's closer to the body. It's covering bits of the head as well as the shoulder, whereas here it was mostly just from the arm. I guess if you were standing like right in the middle of Fleet, it would whiff, which would look and feel bad, so this is trying to prevent that. Maple is getting a few knockback numbers shifted around to be weaker at low percents, but stronger at high percents, with forward tilt also getting a new sour spot at close range. Her dash speed is also being increased since it was heavily affected by last patches. Since it was heavily affected by last patches, dash acceleration changes. Forward tilt's innermost hitbox is now a sour spot, with a base knockback of 4.5 and knockback growth of 0.45. So before, all three hitboxes were the exact same, just across the entire arm, but now it rewards you for spacing it correctly. If it's too close, your opponent will be hit by a much weaker hit. Now this is gonna be where everybody's cheering some sweeping nerfs to Clairen. Clairen is getting a lot of her tipper hitboxes cleaned up, which should make her feel much less frustrating to fight. She's also getting some changes to help with the consistency of her neutral air and Get Up Special. So yeah, across the board, they're either shifting other hitboxes to cover more of the tipper hitbox, or they're reducing the size of the tipper. From what I understand, the sour hitboxes have priority, so if an opponent is hit right here, for example, the sour hitbox will take over, but in this area right here is where the tipper will activate. It's still a relatively big hitbox, but it is smaller than before. Before, it even encroached some of the red spot here, but now it's like almost directly only in the blue, which I think makes sense because the blue part's the tipper. Down tilt, the hitbox have been changed to be more pill shaped so that it doesn't go as low as it used to. Because I won't lie, this is pretty criminal. It hits pretty low under the stage, so this is going to help people recover much easier. You can't be mindlessly spamming down tilt on ledge anymore. Forward strong hitbox changes. Mainly the hitboxes for forward smash at the end were shifted up. Before it could hit pretty low and clip people recovering, it'll be much harder now. And during the swing, it is a bit lower than it used to be. Neutral air has now reduced ASDI modifier, which will make it less likely for opponents to fall out of the move. So for forward air, the backward tipper range has been reduced on both forward air 1 and 2. So before, the tipper kind of reached like to her foot. It went past her foot. So you can get a tipper forward air from behind Clairen. It's been reduced a bit, so at the very least, it's not past the foot. Same thing with forward air 2, where before it extended all the way here past the cape, but now it's closer in line with the sour hitbox. Back air, they've added a new sour hitbox, which is this one right here, which basically gets rid of this portion of the tipper, if I'm correct. So it prevents Clairen from getting tippers from right below her. Same thing with the up air tipper. The range on the bottom has been reduced, so that you can't get a tipper from super below Clairen when using an up air, which I think this move's tipper was one of my biggest issues. I was like, how are you hitting me from all the way down here? Your up air shouldn't work like that. And now it doesn't, which is great for me. We got a slight up throw nerf, making it more reactable since her forward and back throws already create a quick DI mix-up. Up special tipper knockback has been increased slightly, at least the knockback growth, so that it has a slight increase to kill power. The overall movement distance is effectively unchanged, but Clairen will reach max distance much sooner, preventing some situations where the move would whiff when it looked like it should hit. I don't play enough Clairens to know what this is talking about, but a quality of life change that is welcome. Get Up Special's innermost sour spot now interpolates for the first frame. This prevents the move from whiffing when used too close to the opponent, which would have been more common with the newly increased speed boost. Great, so Get Up Special has some quality of life changes to make it more viable. A bit of a bug fix. Tipper stun VFX will now play with a shortened duration when a tipper is armored or crouch cancelled. Previously, the stun VFX wouldn't spawn at all, which made the moves feel weaker than intended. So I think that's a perfectly reasonable change. It indicates that you still got a tipper, but is a weakened tipper because of different reasons. Now this is okay. Loxodont's down special is getting a few changes that make it behave like other similar moves. What? He is also getting a bug fix on his forward special that made it able to drift further away from the stage than intended. I don't really care about this forward special bug fix. Both players from the future, I played a little bit and I changed my mind. I hate this change. It makes side B feel so sluggish. I don't know why Zetterburn gets a momentum, like adds momentum to shine, and then now Loxodon side B side special like stops momentum. I don't know what that's about, but all right, sure. I guess we deserve it. Okay, so I'm like struggling to remember, but if I remember correctly, if you get interrupted when trying to do down special, you just get interrupted and you don't lose your charge because the explosion hadn't happened. But now if you try to erupt and someone interrupts it, it'll act like you used the charge. Okay, so I'm like conflicted because this is a nerf, but I suppose it's a more intuitive thing. Like if you press the down B button, you should expect it to be used, even if like interrupting it is like counterplay to it, which fine. I suppose that makes sense. I'm just sad as a Loxodon player. I'm just sad that I can't keep it. But I suppose this makes sense and makes Loxodons less frustrating to play against. I don't know if I agree with it necessarily, but you know, it is what it is. Down special can no longer cancel into aerials if it gets parried. Parrying usually prevents the cancel, so this fix brings moves in line with other attacks. So if you don't know, if you down special somebody, you can immediately use an attack to be really fast. But before, when you got parried, you can still cancel into an attack, and it is kind of janky. So they fixed it to be more in line, which again I get. These are all like changes that like make sense in terms of quality of life. It sucks that it comes out as nerfs. As a Loxodont fan, you hate to see it happen, but sometimes it happens. Orcane's neutral air was a bit of a do-everything move, so we're making it more committal to throw out and building some other options to help vary his gameplay. His rarely seen empowered forward special is also getting a change that should give it more potential for offstage use. Neutral air basically given more landing lag and recovery, which great. I hate when Orcanes just be spamming neutral air. It honestly is so hard to deal with. Back air sweet spot knockback, at least the base knockback has been reduced slightly, but the knockback growth has been increased slightly. Slightly stronger at higher percents, slightly weaker at lower percents. Empowered down strong has more damage, but down strong knockback in general has been reduced slightly. Empowered for a special no longer goes into special fall on whiff. So normally if you try to side special and don't hit anybody, you'll get into special fall, but I guess if you're empowered, it'll no longer do that, so you can use that as an edge guard tool. Forward throw knockback slightly increased. Empowered forward throw knockback also slightly increased, and forward throw damage also increased. Forsburn has gotten some of his moves toned down, as well as increasing the cooldown when an opponent destroys his clone to reward them for overcoming his deception. The forward air knockback has been changed to 60 degrees to help opponents escape more frequently when DIing out. Good for me because I get hit by 20 forward airs in a row. Down air damage has been reduced. Down air spike hit damage has been reduced. This is to decrease the advantage on shields. Down air spike knockback has also decreased its knockback growth, so it'll be slightly weaker at higher percents. Down air innermost hitbox is removed. Next innermost hitbox shifted forward. This reduces the chance of reverse hits on early active frames. So there was this hitbox here in his body that has been removed. Now it is basically just the dagger in the arm. Clone cooldown from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. This matches rivals 1 cooldown, giving more reward for destroying the clone and making it more limited resources during recovery. It also has a cooldown indicator on the HUD now. And now Etalus is getting actual buffs aside from the visual buff. Dash attack is getting a significant speed boost, which allow him to be much more aggressive with it, while also opening up new combo routes. He's also getting some shield damage buffs and a new ice armor interaction with down throw. So Etalus's max horizontal jump speed normally has been reduced slightly, but his max horizontal jump speed when dash attacking has been increased. This is just to make it clear that jumping during dash attack is better than normal jump. Neutral special damage is from 15 to 25. I'll be real, I didn't know it was 15. That is weak. Yeah, that is too weak for a move like that. That's a good call. Neutral special shield damage multiplier 1 to 0.66. This is to make sure it's not too good on shield, even though it still is very good. 50 is a full shield, so neutral special now does 30 damage to shield. I mean, truthfully, I think it would have been 5 if it was 45, but I think with the ice mechanic, I guess it still works. The falling and landing hits of down special can now both hit a shielding opponent. This greatly increases the shield damage inflicted by this move, since it previously would only hit shields with one of the 2 hitboxes. Oh, I was unaware that if it hits the shield with the up hitbox, I guess it doesn't, you can't get hit by the down hitbox? That's kind of crazy. Yeah, this is much better. This would make it more in line with characters like from Smash, like Bowser or, Yoshi. Special Pummel will now freeze shields when shielded. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, so Special Pummel is now even more dangerous. I mean, before it was dangerous because it forced a defensive option that you had to look out for. Now even shielding is a bit risky because it freezes your shield. I do really like the shield freezing mechanic, but I did think that it was very uncommon for characters to be hit by moves that freeze shields, like neutral B and down special. So hopefully this makes it even more dangerous. Jab recovery has been increased slightly. Dash attack speed boost was increased from 26 to 30. This increases the effectiveness of dash attack as a burst option movement, especially on ice. This does not affect the speed he retains when jump canceling it. Dash attack ground friction when not on ice has also been increased, so this keeps the travel distance on his normal dash attack around the same as it was before. Dash attack's recovery window can now be jump cancelled during the first 10 frames. This prevents situations where a late jump cancel input would be ignored if the move's active frames are just barely ended. Another quality of life for jump canceling dash attack, which is greatly needed since he, I assume, still can't do wave dash out of whiff. Forward strong has been given slightly more knockback growth to compensate for the upward knockback angle and inconsistent linking. Again, I said this before, I don't know if increasing the power is a good balance for inconsistency. That just makes it a bit more frustrating, but I'm sure it's harder to make it more consistent, I'm not sure. Down throw now has a unique knockback when armored. Looks like it increases both the knockback, base knockback, and the growth. and it makes the angle higher. So it seems like it's more of a combo move and potentially a kill move when you have armor. Etalus will now have normal friction when in the knockdown start and parried stun states. This prevents him from sliding off too easily when missing a tech or getting parried. I didn't know that was a problem, but that's really funny. And some bug fixes to round it off. So overall, some interesting changes. I mean, like I said in the beginning, the biggest changes were Clairen nerfs and Etalus buffs. Hopefully this brings the characters more in line to what they believe in, which I do think they are very close. I hope that the nerfs to Clairen are actually significant enough that it makes it more skillful to play and less frustrating. Alright, next we're gonna go look at the Nolt board. So it's only been a few days, but already a lot of suggestions and a lot of responses from the devs. So I wanted to first look at the roadmaps of things that the devs have already addressed. So some stuff that are not planned. Add last stock OSTs. We had this in Rivals 1 with Ethereal Gates and Frozen Gates. Tekken and Street Fighter had this as well. I think it adds tension to the match and makes the last stock a lot more epic. So Mend/Fuji says, while changes to the OST aren't on our roadmap, there is something coming in the next few patches that might make the last stocks more interesting. Keep an eye or ear out for it. What the hell does that mean? I mean, they already have these scene changes, like things get darker or more tense, but they're gonna do some changes to make last stocks more interesting. I already thought the last stock scene changes are pretty cool, but I wonder what they have in mind. Maybe like an announcement, like final stock type of deal. I actually can't imagine what this would be. Here, please fix EXP gain in online lobbies. The TLDR is that they wish that online lobbies had more EXP. Anon here plays primarily with their friends, and when they play with their friends, they don't get as much EXP as when in matchmaking. But Dan answers real quickly. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that it's a great suggestion, and everyone who has suggested and upvoted is smart and probably attractive. However, every match that is played online in Rivals of Aether costs our dev team money. We are running Rivals 2 on dedicated servers in order to provide stability across the player base, as well as open a door for crossplay once we get the console development. We also acknowledge that for players who aren't addicted to looking at Steam charts, the way that they determine the livelihood of the game is by queue times and queue match quality. Therefore, our priority is to incentivize players to use match-made modes in order to keep the queues full and reward players more for their online spent in those queues. This is also why there are XP bonuses in 2v2 and free-for-all, so that those queues have a chance to still have players while being less active than the main queues. We do have ideas to improve the system even more, possibly by merging casual queues into one for a single EXP bonus, but for now, the XP rewards are laid out to best support our online infrastructure. Now, if the game keeps growing and we get more players or are happy with how our updated casual queues rewards are working, then we would like to reinvestigate the XP formula in both public and private lobbies, but for now, we don't have any plans to change the numbers. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is like a framing issue. Anon and some people are seeing it as like they're being punished for playing lobbies, but the framing should be that you're getting rewarded for going into matchmaking. Though, truth be told, I don't know if like XP, because I think the only thing XP gets you are like the XP exclusive skins and emotes and stuff like that for each character. To be honest, I don't know if that's gonna like really affect the players who would want to do matchmaking anyway. So yeah, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this conclusion, but I at least understand why they are setting it out to be this way. Here are some things that are planned but far. Please make it so we can play offline while queuing. If it could contribute to coins EXP, that would be good as well. I would queue online so much more if I was guaranteed to be playing the game. I live in Australia, so it's not nearly as popular. Also, I would give a chance to less common queues like 2v2 and free-for-all way more. In Australia, it's literally impossible for these queues to pop. I know with Americans, you guys may have instant queue pops, but I would love this and would make the game much better in regions where the game is still emerging in popularity. Thanks, bros. Dan addresses this. Good news, we have an engineer on a team who's working on playtesting on character select now. We don't have an estimate for it yet. We would like to use similar tech to allow players to enter training module while in queue, but it will look and function a bit differently, so it's later in our to-do list than local character select playtesting. So Dan letting us know this is on the way, but will be much later in the future. 2-player local doubles, 2 people, 1 setup, playing online. Thanks! Yeah, this is planned, but it's still a bit a ways since we have other pressing issues taking up our to-do list. We would like to tackle this sometime in 2025 still, but we'll see if we can clear everything out to achieve that. Unfortunately for the Doubles Kings, not priority, but it doesn't mean they aren't looking at it. I love this section, the thanks section. I love Orcane, I love Orcane. He feels so good to play, the skins are so good, and I just need to express to the devs how much I love this autistic water puppy. Thanks! I love the shield sound changes. Even that little change makes fights feel so cool. Thanks, man, I appreciate you. The game is feeling more and more featureful and fun to play. Let's go! We're coming out of this on top. Etalus changes feel amazing. Just a heads up, he is way more fun now. Having a kill throw, shield break, and a real speed boost on dash attack makes him a lot more engaging and fluid. Also, the fur is nice. Glad you are enjoying the changes. Wahoo! Yeah, I'm switching mains. Oh my god, I'm actually scared. Etaluses were already cooking, if I can be honest. Partially addressed. Explain balance philosophy in each patch notes. Okay. While it's great to see what the goal of each specific change is, it'd be great to see the overarching vision of why the team believes the character needs an increase or decrease in their power level. What are y'all's basing it on? Tournament placements, player counts, overall ranked win rates? I'm asking for this to be made clear since it really feels like lower power characters like Loxodont, Orcane, and Fleet, and up until today, Etalus, feel like they're getting their power level taken down a notch, with few if any compensatory buffs, while characters like Zetterburn and Rano receive few nerfs, and they are often accompanied by buffs that outweigh them. And I want to know exactly why this keeps happening, how the team views the power of each character and decides what to change when needs to be made. So basically, SBS is saying here that they do address that and they do tell the philosophy, especially like what this Anon says. They summarize their feelings at the top. They don't say they were targeting the strongest characters options, but more so stuff that was too prevalent or over-centralizing in a kit, which is very level-headed of you, Anon. Add sounds when charging moves. Some chargeable specials, notably Loxodont's neutral special, have basically no sound when charging the move. Because of that, you can genuinely just not notice that they are charging at all, and it kind of lacks the impact that it should have when you let the full charge rip, since it feels like it came out of nowhere. Some moves already have SFX when charging, but I think it's too quiet, like Zetter's and the start of Clairen's neutral specials. Also, maybe this is just ultimate bias I have, but strong attacks could use something like the SFX the game uses when they start charging their smash attacks. They're even characterized based on certain categories, like Swordies having their own unique charge startup SFX. Right now, every rival has a voice line playing when charging, which kinda works, but I feel like it does not catch your attention enough. Posted this many note boards ago, reposting for visibility. This and SFX on throws would go a long way too, makes it much less awkward. So Mend Fuji addresses this saying, this is something that has been in our radar for a while. We started the process by adding at least startup sounds for characters, check Raster's strong attacks for example. Even when they don't really support a full-on charging sound, the plan is to keep adding these for everyone. A more gamified approach, like your example, is something we might look into the future if we ever feel like this solution wasn't enough, but it's really not planned for now. So that feeling they're trying to address without maybe using this gamified approach, but it's fun to know that they have this in mind. Sound design on moves hitting sound way worse. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I feel like changing how hitting moves sound in any situation is bad. I thought the team had nailed the sounds to make moves on hit sound amazing, but now they feel super reverby, echoey. It's doing too much. It's not horrible, but it's not sound great in my opinion. Again, I'm probably in the minority here. I should play more when changes happen so I can hear and experience these, because I don't know what exactly they're talking about. Rivals 2 tech sound designer here. Thank you for your feedback, and I'll go a bit in depth about what was and wasn't changed and why. Two main things that happened in this patch. We fixed a bug that was shrinking the stereo field in the last two patches and addressed a bit of the issues caused by it. We rebalanced all the hit sounds so they are more consistent throughout different characters. All hit sounds are the same as before, except Perfect Shield and Wood Heavy for Chef Loxo. Oh, wood, I was like, Wood Heavy? Just to rebalance and process slightly differently in some cases. As to why we made these changes to hit sounds at all, that's to create consistency and enhance the mix for multiple platforms and devices, making it sound more clear and allowing us to enhance the whole experience. We knew some characters would get more affected by it, like Clairen, since her hits were far from the rest of the cast. We'll be looking at two specific cases with specific characters to see if we need more adjustments, either to hits or to other moves and how they interact, to get them sounding as good as possible, but we believe in the overall direction is closer to what we believe in. This guy says, I actually really like the changes after the latest patch. So it goes to show, the opinions are always varied, but hey, they are taking your feedback into consideration, which again, if you want to provide feedback to Rivals of Aether, the Nolt board is the place to go. You just go to rivals2.com/Nolt and it should bring you to the latest Nolt board. Give Rano fair actual startup and recovery. It's fine that Rano has this consistent has this consistent a kill and combo move, but the fact that it's frame 7 with little recovery, kills really early, and combos into itself so well is comically overtuned. Just make it a bit slower and you have some proper recovery so it feels less egregious. Trickster says in particular it needs landing lag recovery since he falls so fast and is always hit falling it anyway. Dan is monitoring this situation because Randall Fair has just got nerfed in the mid-month February update. We're tracking it and it may make adjustments in the future. Fix ranked timers. I thought they did it. I haven't seen this mentioned elsewhere yet. Maybe it has been, but all the timers in ranked for character and stage selections and results are all invisible now. Haven't checked casual. I assume this is a bug. Thanks for the post. We are looking into the cause and we'll be pushing a fix when sorted. Oop, unintended bug for the timers. They made it shorter but invisible. Unfortunate. Fleet down special cannot be ledge cancelled. Fleet F special cannot be reversed for a wave bounce. Zedder Dare doesn't have a sour spot. Getting hit by that move while above him feels ridiculous. Beyond that, this game still rocks. So Dan says, thanks for the report. We will test out both of the fleet suggestions in our closed beta. Oh, fun! The hitbox on Zetterburn's down air that starts higher up is actually considered the sweet spot, while the lower hitbox is just its normal hitbox that is ever so slightly weaker than the sweet spot. Okay, Zedder Dare does have a sour spot, as it turns out. I guess it doesn't feel like it because it's slightly weaker, but wow, look at this. 1-to-1, your suggestions are becoming something that they are looking into. And here are some planned things for the future. Add character names to stage select screen. I was thinking that having the names of the characters on the stage selection screen might be good quality of life change before the matches begin. I find myself sometimes confused with which character is which when I only have the stock icon to go off of, such as Panther's Zetterburn icon looking like Clairen's icon. And for some of her skins, and there are probably more examples, it would help with counterpicking stages and help a lot in the long run as more skins release. Dan says we are planning to update the stage select in an April patch, and the new update will have both the stock icon and character name in the UI. Wahoo! Dang, they are on it. I mean, this April patch seems like it's gonna be a huge patch. I am super excited. It's got new ranked mode, a new UI. Hopefully it brings more people back in. Gold palette for Mecha Lox. He's got to rule in style. Ooh, planned? Just to prove that we do indeed read the note board, I have added this palette to our to-do list. I'm not sure how long it'll be rewarded just yet though. Wait, that's so funny. Dan and the team are so funny. I mean, I think the fact that you respond at all means that you read the note board. You don't have to do it, but gold Emperor Lox would be sick. Internal Emperor Sweet Spot SFX. The skin is wonderful and everyone is eagerly waiting for its inevitable arrival for good reason. I want to keep it clear that I think it's overall really good. The big downgrade though is that the sound effects for a Sweet Spot is kind of like Clairen's Sour Spot. It's just a meek sounding zap. Lox's back air feels fantastic to land usually, but now it's pretty meh. Would love to see this revisited. Also, accidentally made this on an old board. Whoops, hee hee. The sound designer says, that's a good call. He is using plasma hits currently for his sweet spots, which are the same as Clairen's sour spots. We can't just change for her sweet spots instead because they are tippers, unlike Lox, but we will be making a custom change for him. Wow, getting a direct reply. Thanks for the reply. I agree that you can't just toss Clairen's sweet spot sound on there and figure that's why it was lacking. Great to hear that this was planned. Yo, the devs are really on it for responding to this note board. Make tech chasing a real training mode. This is a good suggestion. I do think all training mode suggestions are coming to the future, and in fact that's what Dan says. We are planning to add up air to the air counter and fix the CPU acting out of tech animation in the future update, possibly as soon as the mid-month update for March. And that's about it for the note board. Alright, next is the Twitter portion of the segment. I wanted to start off with some light stuff, which is fan art. We got Watermelon drawing some winter stout maple. Very cute. Coming out in a little snow with a little shadow. Very cute. I love the way they draw maple. And speaking of, they also have this concept for a poison ivy maple. Maple but rough and tough, using barb divine. And some concepts for the plants, which are carnivorous plants. Next, the character concept, the storyboarder for Rivals is showcasing the storyboard animatic for Olympia's victory screen. Another cool showcase of the creative team. And Andy is also posting a bunch of threads on the concept art for a bunch of Dungeons of Aether stuff. For one, there's Fleet, concept Fleet, very cute. I mean, Fleet has always been a character, but this really ups the cute factor. So this is some concepts for Slade. We got Slade over here. Some concepts for the Witch NPC, concepts for the Innkeeper, and an early concept of the Innkeeper where it was a stag instead of a wolf. And super quickly, Spargo basically had this giant post saying that he just isn't as passionate anymore with Smash Ultimate, being that once he reached number 1, he kind of lost motivation to play, or at the very least lost passion, because when he lost, he didn't feel that sting to try harder. But here, Spargo is saying, for everyone asking, yes, I am, however, very motivated to grind rivals. That's what I've been playing the most recently. I think I have what it takes to become the best in that game, and I will not go to EVO if I don't feel like I have a realistic chance of winning. So you'll probably see me stream it more these upcoming days. And I will also start entering more tournaments both online and offline. Let's go! Spargoat's gonna be the GOAT of all platform fighters. But the ironic thing is, because of the patch with the Clairen nerfs, funny how a day after I decided I want to focus more on rivals, they decided to kill Clairen in the next patch. She feels so different now. I mean, hey, Clairen isn't killed. She is just tuned now. She's regular tuned, not over-tuned. And it clearly is showing because Spargo, even after the nerfs, has reached number 1 on the Rivals ranking ladder. Currently, Spargo is the number 1 player on online Rivals. Though, to be fair, the online ranking, even though it showcases how good you are generally speaking, it doesn't really showcase how good you are offline. I believe this I Love You So Much Czar is probably Marlin, at least it's the same profile picture, and Marlin is 4th on this, but I highly doubt that Strikey the Beast and Blub is taking out Marlin at tournaments. I could be wrong, maybe these are low-key hidden bosses, but yeah. It's still a good showcase for Spargo though, and a good idea of what's to come. Dan says, I gotta give credit where it's due. The fact that this is even possible in the game means that not only did Sakurai create the genre, he's also better than me at creating dumbass Rivals of Aether style movesets. Which is referring to this, which is Steve making a Trojan horse. This is one of the funniest clips I've ever seen. What is going on here? I don't know what the Daisy is doing. It's just letting this happen. But that's so funny. Dan is taking this and getting inspired. Ancient Carnelian says, oh dear, this is the sound of inspiration. It's not too late, you don't have to do it. And Dan responds, I'm cooking up something new and dumb these days, but it's not at this level to be honest. But regardless, cooking up something new and dumb. I wonder what that means in terms of characters. It must be characters that we've never seen before, which is super exciting. I think one of Dan's best qualities as a game developer is creating really fun and unique movesets for the platform fighting genre. All of his characters in Rivals of Aether are super cool, and I'm very excited to what he has coming next. And finally, I don't know if this is something I want to address necessarily. I reported this post, so I'm not gonna actually show it. But this is SBS responding to someone, threatening someone's family over a replay bug. Ultimately, the guy who responded, I think, is a super troll. His name is very trolly. If you go to his history, it's very, very inflammatory. And I'm almost like it's better to just report and move on. I think sometimes you feel the need to respond so that people don't just see that post and like that's the only thing, and you don't have the person and you don't have like the team responding to it. But I feel like this gives it more energy and attention than it probably deserves. I mean, but I don't want to look at the post, but it for sure has ratioed it. And yeah, it's just someone saying like ridiculous things does not need attention. Maybe you can report it. My 2 cents. I think regular mean comments are fine to respond to, but like something this inflammatory, I almost think it's not worth it. Okay, and now we reached the YouTube portion of the video. If you want to get other people's insight on the patch, Last Stock very consistently is giving us a patch 1.1.1 overview. So if you're sick of me yapping all video long, you can go check out Last Stock's video. Another great place to look is Proofblock. Proofblock also has a lot of competitive experience and is providing some good insight with all the characters involved as well. He ends it with a patch tier list, which is fun. So if you want to take a look at what Proofblock votes for the strongest of this patch, there you go. If you want to look at specifically the live service aspect of patch 1.1.4, you can watch Soul Bird Guy's video. If you're unaware, Soul Bird Guy does a lot of content about the live service experience of the game. And if this is something that you want to follow, feel free to subscribe. Another thing, with the juicy patch that Etalus got, It's Cyan is showcasing how much better Etalus is in his video, where he's showing off the new Etalus. So Spargo isn't the only one on the Rivals train from Ultimate. We knew other players was in the train as well, but MKLeo has recently uploaded a Rivals video showcasing some of his Forsburn gameplay. Now, I don't follow MKLeo streams very heavily, so I'm not sure when this stream was. So it's possible that it's very recent, and it's possible that it's old content as well. But either way, if you want to see the GOAT of Smash Ultimate play some Rivals of Aether with his Forsburn, come check it out. Now, if you want to see some classic montages with some sick editing, HE Spider's Rivals 2 Zetterburn montage is here for you. We got some good gameplay as well as some clean, sick editing. So if you want to check out the rest of this video, go click on the description down below. And finally, this is not a Rivals of Aether specific video, but if you're unaware, Core A Gaming is a general fighting game channel. And this video is specifically how to reduce salt. This video goes over what salt is, how people get salty, the different kinds of salt, and ultimately how to reduce it. This is a great video for anybody in fighting games, and honestly in life in general. Core Gaming consistently makes some top tier content, so if you're unaware of Core Gaming, you must subscribe and watch this video. Alright, now for the Reddit portion of the video. Your favorite part. I keep saying your favorite part, but honestly I don't know. But hopefully you guys like the Reddit portion. Number 1, they buffed the fluff. I already like this because I agree so hard. They made Etalus viable. Let's go! I sincerely believe this is what was holding him back. Now Etalus is playable. Seriously? Now more people will want to play Etalus because Etalus will look so much better. And then the vibe I get from Etalus is like tough and sturdy, and I think that fur actually does a lot because it kind of gives like a Viking vibe. Not lying, this is what I needed to reinstall after deciding the game wasn't for me. Finally, he can be competitive now. Huge W. Looks fantastic. Nice work. Though I definitely agree the fluff looks better, I have to admit I was kind of indifferent in the conversation before. What this really speaks to is the devs. They're actually listening to us, and they're actually doing the work needed to go into the slums of Reddit posts to find out what people want, and then they do it. Keep up the great work. Yeah! I posted about Orcane and Power Side B asking about its uses within the last week, and they added some. Cool. Now Bubble Olympia. Hey, I mean, I think that's mostly the thing, is that like, even silly things like this, it means that they listened. I mean, clearly, look at this upvote ratio. A lot of people are upvoting this because a lot of people really wanted Etalus to look furry and fuzzy. And the fact they took some time out of their day to make this model change really goes to show that the devs care about the community. I pointed this out in the Twitter section, but let's see what the people think about this. I just wish the Rivals guys are nearly as motivated to make Rivals content like the Smashers, man. We see names like Cake Assault, Marlin, Stango, B-Bat, Switch, BioBurb, ZB, Luck, Ion, et al. On the top 8 boards all the time, but they quietly disappear after each event, rather than parlaying their tournament success into building their Twitch YouTube fan base. Parlaying? That's so funny. It can start with something easy and small, like doing an IRL stream on the road to the event, or TikTok YouTube shorts of the fun, hyped moments with their fellow pros at the event, or a storytime recap of each event, along with the VOD review that everyone was looking for. Things that would introduce them to their potential audience. Rivals players really gotta take advantage of the spotlight shining on this game now, and start building their brand through Rivals content creation. That's me! Immediately. Because the incredibly talented and social media savvy smashers like Spargo and Plup are more willing to swoop in and take that mindshare, as the anticipation for the Ultimate Pros versus Melee Pros versus Rival 1 Pros storyline for Rivals 2 at EVO has already begun. I'm very conflicted on this because on one hand, it is like a quote-unquote wasted potential for the top players of Rivals. On the other hand, most people who play the game, like, they're in it for the love of the game, right? They're not in it to like turn it into their whole career, content career. And the other thing is, Rivals is still a very niche game comparatively. Like, if you look at even fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken, those have thousands of people still playing. But the reality is, I don't think there's a lot of top tier content creators there either. I guess the difference is that there's almost zero top tier content creators in Rivals of Aether. So I guess there's something to say about that. But something about the Rivals games, people just want to grind and play. Professional War says, because it was viable beforehand for Melee and ult players to have enough of a viewer base to invest heavy time into content, potentially even making it their full-time job, and now their acquired viewer base will watch them whether they play Smash or Rivals. Very good point. It was never a worthwhile endeavor for Rivals players to invest a lot of time into making content. If you're already a top player and have a full-time job, you don't have time for the content grind. And let's be real, Rivals 2 is still not big enough to be worth it. It only works for Plup and Spargo because they already got a big following. It's not reasonable to have a full-time job and wanting to spend 3 hours every night streaming on Twitch and your entire weekend recording and editing YouTube videos if there isn't a very financial incentive and you're just doing it for the love of the game. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, the Rivals 2 scene is passionate and dedicated, and I do think there is a hunger. There is a hunger for higher tiered content, but it's possibly not enough to sustain a career, which is why a lot of these players don't make a full effort. Limbo says, to be quite honest, it was never viable for anyone other than Mango, HBox, and Leffen, arguably Plup, to be full-time streamers of Melee. Most of the others were and are barely scraping by unless they have good sponsors or make a lot off tourneys. Moki and Cody are top of the top players in the world that grind content but get like 100 to 200 viewers on stream. Yeah, like, again, content creation is a lot of time investment. It is an investment, and unless you're making money now, it's possibly not worth it. But for top players who have other jobs, the playing the game is the side hustle in and of itself. Unless they have like a team back behind them who will do the work, it's gonna be really difficult to justify that investment. Which is like people like me, Last Stock, Soul Bird Guy, Wisely, Proof Block, and others are doing the content grind. I don't know if any of us are particularly good at the game. We're not top players. I think a majority of us are around plat level. Since we're not investing a lot of time into becoming top competitors, we're able to invest the time into content creation. Games like Smash Ultimate are so popular that it becomes viable to be a content creator just on your skills alone. I mean, back in Rivals 1, even the most successful creators like Adam Kara didn't really pop off. He was a very niche celebrity. The OP responds saying, these are just poor excuses for never even trying to build one's brand. Okay, I think I have issue with this. In terms of like, this is not the goal everyone should have. Building one's own brand, I think, has like somehow invaded the mind space of like the modern regular person. People sometimes just want to play the game, and Rivals is one of those games that you just play the game. I think Ultimate, because there's so many characters and so many things to do and different modes to play, it's a lot easier to make content from it. And there's just so many people playing. I guess you can call it an excuse, but I just think people just frankly don't want to do it, and I think that's fine. For starter, as long as you own a smartphone, there's nothing stopping you from recording interesting, hyped Twitter, TikTok, YouTube short of yourself at big events. That would get thousands of views, especially if you're an established pro who's directly sharing it to the community that is watching the same game you play. There's absolutely nothing preventing you from interacting with the community directly, but how many Rivals pros are letting themselves known here? That's how you begin showing people who you are and why they should continue watching and cheering you. That's how you be part of the storyline that's taking shape rather than spectating it. Yeah, I mean, look, you're already getting downvoted. I'm not gonna say anything about that. Professional War says, you probably underestimate the mental load and effort it takes to maintain an online presence consistently enough to build an audience. Brother Bear, most of them had never even taken the first step of introducing themselves to the community. Tell me, after he won so many events and undisputably the #1 Rivals player in the world for years, do you even know Kekasolt's first name without looking it up? Okay, I don't know if that's an argument at all. I think you don't need to know Kekasolt's first name. You don't need to know anything about Kekasolt. There's something to be said about Kekasolt not, capitalizing on his success to make content, but honestly, Kekasolt is perfectly fine just taking names. I mean, Rivals from the inception is a competitive game. Again, Smash works because it's a party game first, and a lot more people are into it. Come on now, we don't have to pretend like Rivals players who are traveling all over the country to attend these tournaments just want to play a video game as a hobby and have no interest in being a sponsored professional gamer. They are very much interested, not know how to build their brand, and winning every event alone isn't enough. At the minimum, you gotta let the audience know who you are. Such a shame, really. Right, referring to Kekasolt saying still a free agent, by the way. So there is a reality of what Intrepid Tank is saying, in that a lot of orgs, especially for fighting games, rely not just on results and how good you are as a player, but the value you bring to the brand, and part of value is an audience to invest in. So that much is true. I think if you are looking to be sponsored by a player, you have to look more than just being a good player nowadays, and that's the reality. I think Intrepid Tank is taking it a little bit too far in that he is shaming them for not wanting to do that. I think it's perfectly reasonable to not want to do that. I mean, the reason why they're traveling over a country to attend these tournaments is that they, like, I don't know if you know the soul of a competitor. Competitors just want to beat other people and prove that they're the best. Like, that's the end of the day. Like, that's the end of the day. You just want to show that I'm better than other people at this video game, and that's why you travel. Because if you don't travel, you can't prove that. And again, it's fun to engage in the local community that way. Overall, is it a bit of a shame that they don't want to engage in the content creation? Maybe, but I also think it's perfectly fine. Instead of shaming them, maybe the way to encourage that is to make your own content and see what people think, or engage with other people who are making content. The Phased says, this is actually very good for the game. One of the most popular Ultimate players just spoke about losing interest in motivation. A lot of Ultimate fans will follow him into Rivals 2. Evil will be insane. I almost forgot that this was what the thing was about. For some reason, this guy overtook the conversation so hard that I thought it was about Rivals players not making content. It was actually about Spargo joining Evo for Rivals. But yes, that will be very good for the game. I think more players in the game from other scenes is going to be super healthy. They really went there with the Aether Legends trailer. You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. True. Loxodont is the Thanos of the Aether universe? Possibly? Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support the studio. Wow! We love a shill for the community. Okay, shill sounded harsh, but I mean it genuinely. New Zetterburn tech to Superman. Oh my god, why is this video so crunchy? This is the crunchiest Rivals video I've ever seen in my life. How to Superman that hoe in Rivals 2? Press shine while running or baby dashing near a ledge. Now kick back, relax as you Superman that hoe. Oh, okay, so this is part of the momentum shift change. Why are you so, must be on purpose. Why did you compress it this hard? So that, oh my god. Wait. Why was this allowed? Why did Zetterburn need this? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Video compression really killed the bitrate on this very crunchy tutorial, but in a hipster cool way, right? Windows Movie Maker in 08 cool? I'm gonna crank that out on some hoes. Thanks for the tutorial, Soja. Wow. So there's a lot of, okay, I'm actually not sure if that's good or bad. It's good in that, like, let's say you shine someone here and they go out this way, your momentum that you gain gets you to follow up better. So for example, you shine here and they get knocked that way, you kind of move your momentum in the same direction. But at the same time, like if you shine someone and they go down or like a different angle, actually that might not even be bad. I was gonna say that you can't like stall in the middle because your momentum, you like save momentum. I don't know. I think this is an overall buff. I don't know if I like this. Consider restocks for plushes so we don't have to spend $100 on used ones. Wow, rare. I can't believe there's scalpers for Rivals plushes. Is that real? Supply and demand be damned. That's crazy. Bump, I'd love a squishy Orcane. Yeah, Orcane has got to be their highest seller, right? Though I wouldn't mind a plush crag with a plush rock. With Rivals 2, they could give you a code for plush skins in the game. That's an incredible idea. Buy a plush, get a skin? What the heck? That's brilliant. That's a brilliant marketing strategy. Please, I want my crag plushie and not spend a quarter of my paycheck. Yeah, that's tough. These plushies are really cute and hopefully they make more. Yesterday, after getting my wisdom teeth removed, I took out my phone and started recording. In the 2 minutes of incoherent rambling, something rings true, saying that we need a nerf Rano.
Rano is still busted. He got a force.
Who is he talking to?
He got force. Hey, upstairs.
In the depths of your mind, what's ringing true is Rano is too busted. Bro, you playing this game too much? Yeah, dude. I like to imagine the doctor or the parents who you talking to bud question was him saying, you already know I know this. This is the greatest thing I've heard today. Dude, I Oh my god. You're playing this game. If this is front of mind after getting your wisdom teeth removed, brother, you gotta relax. Maybe you should play Rano. Oh my god, that's so funny. What your rival's main says about you on the pure to horny spectrum and the dumb to smart. Ooh, pure and dumb. Wait, Loxodont is on the pure side? Very interesting. Okay, who's the smartest and the horniest? Forsburn? I think I could agree. I agree that you're pretty smart and you're probably horny. Maximum dumb and horny, Zetterbrand and Palm. You know what? The more I'm reading this, the more I'm agreeing. I'm also Olympian main, so depending on the day, I'm either pure and dumb or horny and dumb. But I am dumb all the way through. I just jump between pure and horny, but I'm still dumb. Pure and smart is Eliana. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's just a snake. Can't really be horny with the snake. And Eliana's kit is pretty crazy. What are the people saying? LMAO at Crag being the center. You know, I think, but it's the purest form. Crag is the center. Everything revolves around Crag. The most neutral in smartness and the most neutral in horniness. This graph is BS. I'm a Lox man. I'm anything but pure. I think this is the one thing I disagree on. Everything else, I'm like, okay, I generally agree. But a Lox man's gotta be horny, man. They gotta be horny. Not pure. At the very least, not pure. You gotta be a little bit mean to be playing Loxodont. You gotta be a little bit disrespectful. Forsburn, I'm a horny smartass. That's correct. Smoke and smoke. That's so good. Same brain cell. Isn't it funny that these videos are always a Crag? Maybe the Crags do share one brain cell. But let's see how they're sharing it this time. Grab. Oh! That's so funny. Grab, release the fair. Grab, grab, fair. Dude, whenever this happens to me, I'm like, oh my god, we're both stupid. We're both stupid, aren't we? Here we can see two Crags in their natural habitat sharing a single brain cell over the span of minutes before self-destructing into a pile of pebbles. And of course, she too went to rock wall. Oh my god. Oh, and this is rank too? That's so funny. Hey, Plat Crags do one thing. It's grab and fair. And that's actually true. That's all they do. You know it's true. Hard to swallow pills. Clairen was just as brain dead in Rivals 1 as she is in Rivals 2. Oh my god. Clairen was just as brain dead in Rivals 1 as she is in 2. People just didn't want to admit it. I kind of vaguely remember Clairen being kind of BS in Rivals 1 too. Most people don't know because haha funny modded content. I'm assuming you mean like workshop. I don't know. I main 100% Fox and I'm trying to main Rue and Zoe. Everyone's referring to the workshop stuff. That's really funny. As a Rivals 1 Clairen main who moved away from her in Rivals 2, Clairen actually needed to play neutral in Rivals 1. She didn't have plat camping or permanent outranging characters because she was extremely easy to get long punishes on, and didn't have great defensive options outside of down B. Her edgeguarding game was non-existent. Her recovery was among the worst in the game. She was nowhere near as degenerate as she is in Rivals 2, where shields, ledge, and the engine changes make her a much more oppressive character in low ranks, but still bad in higher level. Somebody said it. These fools barely even played Rivals 1, if at all, but soon as Rivals 2 comes out and is the talk of the town, they want to act like an OG. Is this person oh, I guess this person is assuming Clairen was also brain dead. I think people, these much are true. I think it's the same problem. I think in high level, Clairen never gets like that good, but is still pretty oppressive in lower levels because people don't really know how to handle the sword range. But I could be wrong. Since Zetterburn is universally loved on this sub, oh my god, a Zetter mod? Wait, I wonder if the Zetter, whoa, wait, this is sick. Bayonetta comboing Zetterburn? Ooh, wait, is this cancels in this game? Is this like HDR or something? Wait, it's also, Bayonetta's wearing like a jacket or something. Wait, kind of sick. Ooh, France? Ew. Just kidding. I don't know what came over me. I wonder if whoever modded Zetterburn, if it's actually like Zetterburn movesets. You're absolutely right. I should have picked Bayonetta on the select screen. Smash 4 died because Dan wouldn't def Bayonetta. It's true. New Rivals 2 update looks crazy. That an Incineroar skin? Oh, it's a rework of Wolf. Okay, it's a Wolf skin. I guess that makes sense. Zetterburn is a bit wolfy. The way the model looks in this mod though looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. Everyone's somewhere on the spectrum. I was the least sure about Loxodont, a Neopet and a Sonic character. Okay. Yeah, Maple's a Neopet. I agree. Yeah, I would say Zetterburn. You know, this is pretty good. Sonic character. Yeah, full on Raster's a Sonic character. Sonic villain maybe. You know what? Ultimately I think I agree with this list. Experimenting with the momentum changes on Shine feels good. Oh no. Oh, why? Okay. Okay, no hate to Zetterbird players. No hate. Just but a little bit of shade. Everyone who always shares Zetterbird skills, like, oh, this game is so fun, always shows Wave Shine. And can I be 100% honest? As a person who is a Zetter hater, this looks so lame. This looks lame and annoying. Also, you're slipping and sliding with the momentum shift. I don't know if I like this, man. I don't know if I like this. Also, I'm kidding. Wave Shine is cool if you do it consistently, but I think the fact that players in like gold and silver can do it consistently is like telling. It's a bit too easy, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm starting to see why Lox did what he did. Exactly. I already liked it. Exactly. Yeah, I hate to be that guy, but you know I don't. Zetterburns, you have to do more than just show Wave Shine if you want to show off your skills, because all I see is rage. Better nerf Orcane. Lox 2, don't forget to make the largest, very floaty character worse every patch. Dan got F smashed at ledge one too many times and has a Lox grudge, I'm convinced. I mentioned this in the previous section, but I think, at least in this version of the changes, is to make it a bit more intuitive, which I think is fine. I think it's fine. It sucks as a Lox main, but it's ultimately fine. Did he need this though? That's like the big question I have. This is fun for Zetterburn mains, for sure. But did they need it? I mean, they took out Etalus' wave dash out of jump cancel. So like, that's a fun mechanic for Etalus, but they took it out because like it was not necessary. In the same way, I don't know if giving like Shine seems safer and you can follow up better, but for why? It was already annoying. I'm a little bit baffled, honestly. Here's my qualifying statement. I don't think Zetterburn is still gonna be like, it's ultimately unchanged. Zetterburn is still gonna be as annoying as he was. He's not gonna get extremely much better, but I don't know why. I'm confused as to why this change was implemented. What finding and deciding a main does to an MFer. Ooh, diamond? Wow. Wait, that's really impressive. Going from high gold and then jumping to diamond? I guess it's not a jump, it's a grind right here, but like, this is a big jump from just picking up and sticking with the main. Wow. I'm hella impressed. Happy someone was able to get past the curse that is a character crisis. Wait a minute. It's Tuesday-tastic. If you don't know, Tuesday-tastic has a YouTube series where they pick a character because they have a character crisis. Around 2 weeks ago, I finally found and decided who to main, Maple, and my rank instantly shot up. Finally reached Diamond today by beating a master player who also played Maple. Kinda hyped right now. Let's go! And props to Scarecrow for the ELO tracking tool, yeah! So if you guys are unaware, Scarecrow has this ELO tracker that you can put your like ELO, let's just say like 1100, and then you can see where you compare. But you can also track your own ELO over time if you put your Steam ID. If you go to your Steam profile and you don't have a custom URL yet, you can actually copy and paste this number code, and that should be enough to track your ELO. Let's see if it works. So you can track where my ELO was this whole time. I am now in high gold, but I was in low plat. I basically stayed the same. I had a downward fall in this era. I just kept losing for some reason. But right here, I grinded my butt off and made it all the way back to low plat. And then I kind of fell off again. So this might be a trend where I go slowly down, up and down. I want to get to diamond. That's what I want. Please, please let me get to diamond. Well, I just gotta be better. But yeah, this is a really cool tool to see how you've progressed. Patch note reactions. First time? Huh? RIP the legends. Nerf to the ground. Well deserved maybe, but still. I haven't seen a single person complain about Clairen patch notes. I mean, they buffed 3 of her moves, more than makes up for we nerfed the temper hitboxes to stop Reddit from complaining too much. Is that what happened? Is that what happened? God, the amount of times I was told that they weren't reading the Reddit whatsoever to now nerf Tipper to stop Reddit from complaining is giving me such intense whiplash. Is it not possible in any way they just also saw it as a legitimate issue? If they strongly felt it was a legitimate issue, I feel like they wouldn't have done an entire bit about it in the presentation that announced Rivals 2, making fun of people who complained about Clairen's Tipper range from the first game. Probably would have addressed it way sooner, like in the first major patch, as it's a relatively simple change to adjust her Tipper hitboxes, and people have been complaining since day one. That combined with the particularly concentrated amount of rage thrown towards the character in the past month really makes the Tipper nerfs feel like something to appease the whining about the Tippers while things were at a fever pitch with the community, rather than because it being genuinely concerning and overpowered mechanic. I don't think the Tipper nerfs change anything for Clairen in the grand scheme either, which further adds it to feeling like an appeased nerf than a genuine balance concern. I'm not really sure what the... I'm actually not sure what you're trying to say. I don't know how... Well, I don't really know what you're saying, because I think it's reasonable to nerf a move to make it a higher floor so that it is less annoying to play against in lower level play. I think balancing around a wide range of levels is a perfectly fine idea. So I'm not really understanding what you mean. I think the thing is they thought it wouldn't be a problem, but over time it clearly showed that it was, so they adjusted accordingly after the fact, which I think is a healthy way to go about game balance. Like, if you thought a move was balanced, but 80% of the community said this is a stupid mechanic, you'll reconsider. You'll be like, oh, maybe this isn't as balanced as I thought. As a game developer who's too close to the game, maybe don't really see how it feels to play against this move at a wider range of levels. So I think it's perfectly reasonable. Weren't streamers supposed to promote the game? Ooh, interesting. I absolutely love Rivals. It's one of the best games I've ever played, and the first competitive game I've taken seriously, but there's a major issue, at least in Europe, and I've seen others mention it as a problem in other regions too. The player base is too small. I know this is largely an issue with the genre itself. Even major fighting games like Street Fighter 6 struggle to compete with other genres in terms of players and numbers, and platform fighters, being a subgenre, have an even harder time. But Rivals was supposed to have an advantage. Huh? I expected off-brand and streamers like Ludwig to promote it, yet after just 2 weeks it felt like they moved on, leaving the game without the boost it needed. I'm not saying they needed to use an 8-hour stream on it, but if Lud doesn't whip out Rivals when he does his bro versus bro against Shroud, then I might feel a little defeated. Now, ranked mode feels completely unbalanced. Besides me, bronze 550, I've run into players above 900 or stone ranked Lox players who only spam up B. I still love the game, but man, I just need more people to play the game. Do you honestly think without their publisher off-brand working their magic behind the scenes, Rivals 2 would be still treated on par with these long-established AAA titles at FGC Smash Super Majors immediately after its release? That's a fair point. They helped with the Kickstarter campaign that brought in over $1 million, well above the initial target. They helped with the promotion campaign that brought awareness to every fan of the platform fighting genre. Hell, they even got top smashers to take Rivals seriously by giving it its own LACS, and Smashers are famous for only playing Smash. Off-brand already did more than any indie game studio could ever ask for. Ultimately, it's up to Aether Studios to make this game more viable to beginners, and it's pointless for streamers to feed their viewers to all the sweats now before arcade mode is added. They're just gonna get frustrated and never keep coming back. Meanwhile, what the Rivals community really needs right now is for Rival Pros to start building their brand by making Rivals— Oh, this is Intrepid Tank! The moment I saw this, I knew it! Building their brand by making Rivals content. Anything from IRL event streams to post-match VOD reviews to making YouTube tutorials and matchup analysis. There's a clear demand for it, but it looks like they're leaving Rivals content creations entirely to the smashers and commentators. Definitely not on par, no, but the game could definitely be more popular than it currently is. Off-brand is probably doing a lot, but it just feels like they aren't using their biggest assets. Okay, so overall, I think Intrepid Tank has the best intentions, which is to make Rivals a mainstay, a mainstream game. And with a mainstream game, it's useful to have the top players make content for it. But it's kind of a chicken and the egg situation. It's like, does the content bring the users, or does the users bring the content? And I think in Intrepid Tank's mind, it's the users, or it's the content and the top players that bring in the users. In my opinion, it's the opposite. Once there is a large user base, then people will start making content for it. I personally am making Rivals content for the love of the game. I just really like Rivals of Aether, and I also believe that there should be more Rivals of Aether focused content. But since the top players aren't doing it, I want to do it myself. So that's how I'm engaging with it. I think the problem is right now is that Rivals 2 doesn't have modes that really encourage casual gameplay. And that's fine, but if Rivals 2 wants to compete with the likes of Smash, they really do need to embrace the casuals. I mean, I think that's a big reason why Street Fighter 6 was so successful, was because they had an expansive campaign mode and also the modern controls that really made it easy for players who didn't want to learn button inputs to play the game at a level that is higher than maybe it normally would. The lifeblood of fighting, the lifeblood of games is the casual audience. The highly competitive people are very niche and small. So ultimately, I think it's really the dev's responsibility to create a game that encourages this kind of content. Not necessarily the players and not necessarily the viewers either. If Aether Studios wants Rivals of Aether 2 to be a explosive game, they must cater to the casual audience, and if there is a bigger audience, that's when people will start making content. Streamers promoting a game isn't a long-term strategy to getting casuals to play the game more. Rivals 2 just lacks casual content to people to engage with and won't change until they add sub. I totally agree, I just said that. As far as content creation in general goes, there isn't much for people to work with unless you're grinding rank, which is always going to be a niche audience. And then Intrepid Tank responds, number one skill to be a successful gamer content creator is to have an interesting personality and knowing how to interact with viewers. Case in point, 99% of Squeak's viewers have never even done a single speedrun in their lives, but thousands of them tune into watching him play Mario 64 every day because he's absolutely hilarious. It's not even just outside strangers like Smash players or Ludwig, it's the fact that 80% of the alleged top 100 don't even stream once a week. Well, this is actually really interesting. This is an interesting question. Should players, I mean, maybe that's a topic of conversation I bring up in another video. Should top Rivals players stream more? I don't even know who the top 10 streams consistently besides maybe Switch. I think, of course, the bigger issue is that a lot of them don't seem that passionate about Rivals 2 compared to Rivals 1, but like, y'all can post combo videos or highlights on YouTube at least. And then this person responds to something I agree with. I think mostly down to Rivals 1 being too small effective streaming content grind, so top players mostly don't. There was an opportunity to build an audience in Rivals 2 at launch, but outsiders probably ate up most of the prime viewing growth time there when Rivals 2 players were at their peak. I know anecdotally I watched a lot of Void and a little bit of Luck. Rivals 2 needs another launch. Yeah, I mean, I think basically they're waiting for the console launch to be like its full version launch, the definitive edition launch. And then from there, maybe more players. If it's on console, there'll be more players and more people hungry for content, and that's the time to capitalize. But until then, there is no real incentive. And playing close range against Lox be like, oh, Tilt City over here. Yes. Okay. Here's the thing. Everybody's Tilt City. Everybody's Tilt City. What are you talking about? Just because Lox has a 2-hit tilt, F tilt. Oh my goodness. You guys are being silly right now. Tilts that tilt you. Only after Jab City. Yeah. Or you actually dodge a counterattack into getting shield grabbed. Wow. Do people hate playing against Lox? What the heck? I have been blinded as a Lox main. Is Lox next on the hate train? It's actually not Zetter or Rano, it's Lox. I mean, hey, if Loxes are jabbing and tilting, wait for the tilt to end. That's what you gotta do. You know what? With that, I'm ending it. That's it. That's all I have for today. Alright, so that's about it. That's everything for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Keep playing Rivals. Remember to floss, and I'll see you next time.